I'm Brittany Palacastro, the founder and director of Beyond Asana, and this is Living Beyond Asana, my weekly vlog giving you a dose of inspiration to activate change in your life. So today, we're going to talk about what I think is the ultimate meditation. It might not be what you think. It's pain. So I've always had a really interesting relationship with pain. I think the reason is because I actually grew up with a lot of pain. I was on crutches for several years, and I had an illness that not a lot of people understood, and not a lot of people even believed that I had. So now, in my 30s, about 20 so years later, I find my relationship with pain is one of interest a lot of times, as opposed to one of fear. So let me explain how pain can be a meditation. And if you think about it, what happens when you're in pain, especially when it's intense pain? Everything else stops. Whatever you're thinking about, right, most of the time ceases because you're in that experience of pain. I'm sure those who have experienced childbirth know exactly what I'm talking about. So in that space, then what comes next? Oftentimes it's fear. Fear of what's going to happen, fear of what if this pain doesn't go away, when is it going to go away, what does this mean, am I dying, on and on and on. So there's a lot of stuff that comes up from the fear. But the question is, what could happen if you actually let the fear release and recognize that the fear isn't really imminent? I mean, sometimes it obviously is, but I'm just talking about in the sense of just you're feeling pain, right? So you have a pain in your shoulder, or you have a pain in your low back, or you have pain in your stomach. It's just pain. But we create a story around the pain that creates fear, that creates stress, and that takes us out of the moment. What happens when we can be in the moment, be present with what we're feeling? What can happen is that it can actually transcend the experience. And I know this sounds a little out there, but it's true. I've experienced it several times. So, if, say, I do something small, or I get an injury, and I have pain. Recently, I burned my finger, and it was really, really painful. And, instead of freaking out, I use my breath. And a lot of times with the burn, I didn't break my hand because that's more heat to heat. But normally, I'll just bring my hand on my body, and I'll bring some energy, I'll bring some love into whatever I'm feeling. And what this does is I bring a curiosity to the pain. And even if I'm talking to somebody about the pain, I say yeah, that really hurt, but it was interesting. Because pain is interesting. It is the way that the body communicates with us. It is literally the words of the body telling us that it needs help, the nerves are firing. It's quite fascinating when you think about it. Now, when you're in it, that might not be happening, but try to just soften yourself and come to a space of receiving. And a lot of times in my classes, I always talk about being with discomfort. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, instead of judging it, trying to change it right away, sit with it, breathe into it. And really, pain is the ultimate discomfort. So by no means am I saying, if you have pain in your yoga practice, just to push through it and, ignore it or anything of that nature. I'm not. Respond to the pain as needed to keep you safe and healthy. And then once you've done that, be with it. So just a couple tips, even if you want to make this a meditation. So if you're feeling pain, you'll go ahead and close your eyes. And I'll close my eyes too. And you'll take a moment to notice where the pain is in your body. And start to bring breath to wherever the pain is. Even if it's in your toe. And as you bring breath to the pain, start to imagine that the pain, I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, is expanding. Not through your body, but just in that spot. Expanding so much that it starts to get kind of holes in it. So it's not as concentrated and tight as it once was. And notice what color the pain is. If there's a symbol, a feeling, or a memory that comes with it. And the best you can, use your breath. And remember that pain is a result of the body's amazing abilities to communicate with you. And let that soften any grips that you have anywhere else in your body, such as your jaw, such as your eyes, your fingers, your toes. And just take even just 5 seconds to be with the pain instead of trying to fix it, figure it out, or change it. And if your eyes are closed, you can open them. And notice like how, and we can really do this with anything, not just pain. If you're feeling stressed, we could do the same, basically the same thing. All that was a shift of perspective. And instead of running from something, we were actually embracing it. Okay? So I'd love to hear from you now. Leave a comment below to deepen the conversation. And I'd like to know one way you could perhaps shift your relationship with pain, or if you have shifted your relationship with pain, or what interests you about this particular conversation. So I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please share it with all of your friends. There really could be someone who could benefit quite deeply, especially from this one. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you head over to livingbeyondasana.com to sign up for my newsletter and make sure you stay in the know. So thank you so much for joining me. And remember, life is not a chore. It's a privilege. Live full out every day, and the world will continue to mystify, inspire, and delight you. I'll see you next time on Living Beyond Asana.